How's it going, YouTube? I just wanted to make this video about my experience with Lone Mountain. And just to clarify, this isn't to bash them or put them down. Um, they really didn't do anything wrong. It's just my personal experience with the truck that I purchased and where we're at with that truck today and the issues I've had and kind of that sort of stuff. But I'll go over that a little bit with you guys. So I purchased the truck in late, what was it? No, it's August of last year. So what has that been, 9 or 10 months, something like that. Started off good. No issues towards the beginning. I think the first repair that I had to do was a turbo actuator that was all jacked up. So that was about $3,000 with labor. There was a second repair, which was the water pump. Get to the back. Go on. Sorry, my dog. Second repair was the water pump. Not long after that, that was about $900. I replaced that myself. A little bit down the road, I had a throttle valve actuator. I'll see if I can't pin a picture in the video about that, but I had to replace that. And just yesterday, I had stopped in Canton, Ohio. There's a guy I like to use there. Shout out to Ryan Fox over at DPF Discounter. He does a great job over there. He seems like he really knows his stuff. But anyway, he repaired a NOx sensor. So with labor, there's another $1,000 right there. Other than that, I've had some. Really what the major issue would be that I'm dealing with right now is we pull the EGR pipe off of there, the EGR exhaust gas recirculation deal, and we looked in there for any signs of potential coolant leaks. They pulled the hot pipe off, they looked through everything, and they didn't find anything. And what I mean by that is about 3 months ago, I started noticing, it may have been going on longer than that, I started noticing a strange amount of pressure in my cooling system. And I wasn't having any spray out or anything like that from the reservoir, but there was a lot of pressure. So I bought a block tester, which is something I should have done going up to Lone Mountain in the first place. I should have checked all this stuff out, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I bought the block tester. It's just this little tube with this fluid in it. And the fluid, if it comes in contact with exhaust, it turns a different color. So it's blue originally. If it turns green or yellow, you've got exhaust gas in your reservoir. So I did that once. The first time, nothing happened. And mind you, the truck had been sitting for the weekend and I was just idling it. It didn't change colors. The second time I tried it was the polar opposite. I had been driving that day. I noticed some pressure in the cooling system and I plugged it up and immediately we had yellow fluid. So exhaust gas was present. Now, just to check it again, I did it a third time a couple of days later in the same issue. So not a good sign. I know that could be a few things. And I was really hoping that it was like an EGR cooler leak that could have been causing this situation. Because that would have been a lot cheaper. But it is undoubtedly either a head gasket or a liner or potentially like an injector cup, something a lot more serious than an EGR. So there's that. And, so going into the situation when you go up to purchase a truck, they give you an opportunity to come look at the truck, check the truck out, and look over the motor and all that stuff, all that fun stuff. Their shop has supposedly, looked at it prior, which, I assume they did. But I previously didn't have any knowledge about trucks at all. Like, I'd driven as a company driver. I knew a little bit, but not very much. So my advice to anyone that is watching this video and is thinking about going over to Lone Mountain is to, if you don't know anything about trucks, bring someone that does. Bring somebody that maybe you can find a friend or a family member that knows about, diesel engines, that can thoroughly look over that truck and, maybe catch something before they drive it off the lot. Because once you drive it off the lot, it's your truck. And, you might be in a situation like me right now. This truck has 488,000 miles on it. And we're looking at a situation where I'm going to have to get it in for an in-frame. They're going to have to pull the head and possibly replace, rods, bearings, piston liners, rings, and all that fun stuff. And that's not cheap. We're looking at like $20,000+ to get that kind of stuff done. They've got to recut the counter bores. Molly, stop it. Sorry, my dog's right here. So, I'm not in a really good place with this. Again, Lone Mountain really didn't do me dirty or anything that I'm aware of. Like, they give you they tell you the risks when you get there. They check, when you come to put the down payment, they make sure you have enough money in your bank account where if something were to happen, you drive off that lot, you can handle it, and I think the only issue I really had looking back that was a little sketch was I had heard a noise, and it was just a vibration. Turns out it wasn't. It's just something vibrating. At the time, I thought maybe it was a transmission, but it wasn't. But they had taken it into the shop and just pulled things apart and looked at it to see where that vibration was coming from. They couldn't find it, supposedly. And instead of sending the mechanic to talk to me, the guy that had looked over it, they were just kind of like hush-hush about it in the office. I was sitting out on the couch. They were hush-hush about it, talking about whatever it was. And she just kind of relayed information to me of what he said. I should have pushed the issue and asked to speak to the mechanic. I didn't. But that was the only real issue looking back that I had. Also, I had to change the steer tires probably a month and a half after I got the truck. One was, the driver's side was worn down really good on the left side of the tire. So I just wanted to make this short clip and this short video about my experience. Again, this is nothing to bash them. Like, they do a pretty good job at explaining the risks, and you go into there knowing, this is going to be your truck and stuff like this is going to happen. I was just not prepared for this to happen this early. And financially, I'm just not there right now. I'm not making the money that I was in the beginning. We lost some contracts at the company I'm leased onto. So I'm making a lot less. Fuel prices have gone through the roof. Thankfully, they're coming down a little bit, but just money's not flowing like it was. And, with all my bills and everything, it's very hard to save. So this is just a absolute terrible situation I'm in. And I'd just like to relay the message to the guys that are out there that are potentially thinking about going to get their own truck and starting this. You might be better off at a company position. If I could go back and flip a switch, I probably would have stayed where I was at in that company position. The only real benefits that I think I see being my own, employee, kind of my own employer, is I have access to flexibility. I can take off pretty much whenever I want. Like if I want to take off a week, I can take off a week. If I want to make it to a birthday, guess what? I'm going to make it there to that birthday. You got to be able to save the money to, fork that up for the downtime, but there's flexibility there. Or you can run really hard. It's all really whatever your preference is. So, but you're going to see a lot more if you're coming into this and you haven't really done the owner operator thing. You're going to see a lot more cash flow for sure. You're going to be seeing 2-3 times what you were making as a company driver, but you're also going to be seeing a lot of money going out. You've got trailer fees, you've got truck payments, you've got fuel, you've got tolls, you've got anything that goes wrong with the truck. I mean, it's very expensive. Just a couple of weeks ago, I spent $2,700 on fuel for a 1 week. $2,700. So put that into perspective before you get out there and decide you're going to do this. It can get pretty rough. But I just kind of wanted to come on here and share my experience and where I'm at today, and not sure where this is going to go for real. I'm kind of in a bind right now, so, but it's my own stupidity for just kind of jumping the gun and getting into this without that cushion of $20,000-$30,000 in the bank account for something like this to happen. So anyway, I hope this helps some of you guys if y'all were looking for information. And if this gains some traction, I can make another video about exactly the process of Lone Mountain and how that worked for me. But other than that, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching.